Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 24, 24 minutes of mindfulness meditation. Let's go ahead and take these arriving moments, as we normally do, to just get settled into our space. So gather anything that might make you feel comfortable, and it may be different than it was in previous days. Find a spot that feels comfortable where you'll be able to relax. I'm also going to add on, as I've mentioned before, take in your space and notice what's happening around you, the other forms of energy that may be vying for your attention. They could be distracting. So, as I've mentioned, animals, other people, something messy that you were like, well, I just wish I could have dealt with that. Just notice that it's there without becoming attached to it. And I've said that throughout multiple videos, and it's funny because today I was like, I'm showing up, day 24, I'm right here with you guys. It's not like I've reached this point of awareness or mindfulness or even my own meditation practice where I'm just coming at you as a leading authority. Actually, this is part of my practice as well. You all are now part of my practice, and I show up every day. So my day is just like yours. Some days this is amazing, and other days it's a real effort to carve out the time to do it. But what makes it, I don't want to say easier, but I guess for a lack of a better word at this moment, that would be it. What makes it easier is the consistency and the commitment I've made. So even in the mornings, because it's morning where I am right now, even in the mornings where you're kind of like, oh, I'd rather insert whatever, do anything else. Making this time for ourselves is really important because it makes us reinforce this routine of giving ourselves, of reconnecting with ourselves, even for just a very, very small amount of time each day. And if we do it at the same time every day, it becomes known, not just to us, but to everyone else, that this time is your time. But I'm going to circle back because, like I mentioned, I bring up this idea of attachment and not getting attached to the other energies that are in the room or surrounding you. What does that mean? There's, in philosophies that, well, I'll get a little specific. There's the four truths of Buddhism, and it starts out with that the first noble truth is that life is suffering. And that sounds really harsh, and I don't I don't want you to get attached to that. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that life is meant to be difficult, although sometimes we may make decisions assuming that for it to be valid, it needs or should be difficult. And really, it doesn't. It's our attachment to these ideas of how we think things should be that causes us to override our natural inclinations, our intuition that tells us otherwise. And so this word of attachment goes with the word aversion. If you think about things that need to be in balance, life, the world, the universe, everything is constantly working to be in balance. And so if something gets a little bit too heavy over here, the other side's gonna start to become heavier and start to vie for your attention. And we're constantly in this balancing act. Always. There is never really a moment where people are in balance. It's the Olympics too. So if you want to watch gymnastics, great example. Balance beam. There's always this fluidity, this little bit of movement back and forth because it has to. The body has to respond to the other elements. The mind's being distracted, but the single focus and the sheer ridiculousness of balancing on something that's like 4 inches wide. I mean, it's amazing. It's incredible. And I mean, let's be honest, slightly insane. So if you get attached to how things are supposed to be all the time, or you avoid these forces, the other side is just going to come at you. And it's going to cause this dis-ease, this uneasiness. And that stinks, right? Let's call it what it is. That stinks. No one, I mean, we just want to show up and be like, it worked. It's easy. Wouldn't that be nice? So this is why we practice. We don't show up every day to practice, to sit in one spot with a whole bunch of stuff around us and to block ourselves off, although that is very, very nice. But as we are working on day 24 and we have this last week left of our journey, what I want to sort of leave you with, or start to plant the seed of something I'll leave you with, is that these techniques, these skills, this exercise of mindfulness, of checking in with yourself and being aware, is really something I want you to take out into the world. I want you to live this. I want, when you're trying to do something really important and something comes and is completely distracting to you, and you feel that fire, that anger, that rage rising, I want you to notice it and not to push it away or try to avoid it, or to become attached to the fact that you had this all set up and it was supposed to be perfect and it's not, and why. To work with these two forces, to balance yourself and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here and check in, because really, a couple minutes, a couple days, a couple years from now, am I even going to remember this happened? And if the answer is no, then why are we taking all of this energy, all of this time being worried about it? Can't we be in control and choose the way that we're going to respond in this moment? And that's really what we're practicing. That's what we're practicing. So if your kids or your pet are in your face right now, c'est la vie. Let it be what it is. If they're not, and you're sitting here and you're like, oh my gosh, am I going to make it through 24 minutes today? That's your distraction. That's what you're working with. That's your journey today. This is, mindfulness and meditation is sort of this gift that we give ourselves, even if that seems a little odd here at the beginning. It's the gift that we give ourselves of going way back to the beginning, when we were very, very, very little. And all the attention was always on us. Someone was taking care of us. Someone was there holding us and looking over us. It's the recreation of those amazing moments that we then give to ourselves, because they're not just something you give to children. That's really what living's about. It's being caring. It's giving that support to yourself, to others, to showing up, to being there, to being a resource, to choosing to make the present moment the priority. Because if something else needs your attention, it will then become that present moment, and you'll worry about it at that time. But it doesn't all need to happen right now. I know, I'm kind of going on a tangent today, but I just wanted to let you guys, to really impart on you guys that this is not I don't want you to feel as if this is what you've been, this like finding a seat and being able to sit for 24 minutes was the goal. It was just sort of like a step in the way. The goal is really reconnecting with ourselves in whatever format works for us. But I want you to go out there and I want you to live your real life. And I want your real life to be the most amazing life, no matter how you choose to live it. I'm just hoping that you take that there are indicators here that your body is not apart from your living. It is the vessel of which you live, and you go forth and experience life. So you should really take time to like check in with it and see what it has to say to you. Like, wow, my legs are starting to tingle. Maybe I should straighten them, or I should change anything because this is really uncomfortable. Or my breath is stuck in the top of my chest and that's starting to make me feel really anxious. Why? What can I do right now? We can become very aware, very mindful of what our surroundings are, what's happening, and what might be causing these feelings or sensations. The feeling could be, I had an expectation, I became attached to how I thought the current moment was going to be, and it's not turning out that way. And instead of accepting that, I'm avoiding that everything else around wants to do a twirly whirly, and I just want to sit still. So what's the answer? Well, how can you be in the present moment? How can you be part of what's going on? A simple just acknowledging that it's going on usually settles things down. I know it sounds crazy, but just being like, I see you, I hear you, I'm going to take a moment and then I'll be back. Same goes for the mind. Like when something in your body starts getting going and it says, I need your attention right now, pay attention to it. What is it telling you? And then go on. So whether you choose to do this live with me today, or whether you choose to access the recording later in a different place, on a train, during a meeting, which then you wouldn't really be paying attention. But if something's happening and you need that extra support, I'm here. But yeah, so now we're in our seat. And I kind of just gave ourselves time to let the body settle, to welcome us all into, and just remind ourselves why we're here in the first place. So now that you're settled, whether you're choosing to sit or you're choosing to lie down, we're going to take some movements to get ourselves warmed up. So if you are on your back, you can hug your knees in towards your chest and just roll side to side, just giving ourselves that twist. If you're in a seated position like I am, let's take one hand and rest it on top of our head and the other hand rest it on top of that hand. So here, we're not squishing the head down, and we've done this in previous videos. We're not squishing the head down. It's a light touch of the palm to the crown of the head. And what this starts to do, whether you notice it or not, is it allows the tailbone to really start to root down, the low core to slightly just elevate up. We're not clenching anything, but it automatically wants to support the spine, because now the crown of the head is like, ooh, I feel something up there. I want to get a little bit longer. And so you can just feel the lengthening of the body, and then rest the shoulders away from the ears as much as you can. It may be a little bit difficult, especially if you're just waking up. And let's just twist to one side. So again, keeping that length of the spine, a gentle twist to one side. We can see how the shoulders change in this position, and perhaps how they start to creep up towards the ears, and we start to relax them down. You may even notice that you're leaning a little bit further forward or a little bit further back. So just realign, use those hands as a guide to where your center line is. And you'll feel it. You should feel it. We're tuning in. And then let's come back to center. And let's switch which hands on top. Realign the shoulders, so just relax them down. And we'll just twist in the other direction. And so my friends on the floor, you're just rolling. You can take gentle rolls where you're just moving from side to side, or you can roll all the way onto your side like little kids do. It's actually quite fun. And then let's come back to center, everyone. And let's do a few shoulder rolls. So I'm going to keep my hands, because of space, on my shoulders. You are free to take those arms nice and wide and roll them out in big circles. If you're lying down on the floor, you're just going to bring them up overhead, tap the thumbs if you can reach them on the floor. If not, don't worry about it. And then bring them back to the side. So you're moving this up and back motion. And so we're just opening up the shoulders. And then we're going to move in a different direction, just gentle movements. If you've ever sat at a computer for too long, or a desk, or something really starts to stretch you out, you're going to want to move your shoulders, and you probably instinctually do it. So let's come back to center. You probably find yourself like moving and getting everything worked out. Okay. So now let's bring our right chin towards the right shoulder. So I may be doing it opposite to you. It's okay, we're going to do both sides. So if you choose the other side, that's fine. And so here, as we're just letting the chin move towards the shoulder, we're not forcing or wrenching, we're just opening up these secondary respiratory muscles, the muscles that get engaged when the breath moves too far up in the chest and we start to feel stress. And then we'll come back to center and we'll bring the chin over to the other direction. So for me, it's to the left side. Again, see if you can notice what the shoulders are doing. If they've started to curl in or roll back, can you start to imagine that line again, tailbone to crown of head, to help you maintain that space in the torso. And then let's come back to center. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drop the chin towards the chest, but we're going to retain that length in the spine. So now what we're feeling, or what you may be feeling, is lengthening along the back of the neck. And here you may even want to begin to soften the gaze or let the eyes close entirely. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring our head back into a neutral position with the gaze soft and the eyes closed. And we're going to move into that alternate armpit breathing, which does have a name, but for now we'll just leave it at that. Right hand under the left armpit, left hand under the right armpit. Let the elbows rest down. From here, eyes starting to turn the focus more internal. As we begin to breathe, we use the hands as in the sense of touch as that sense of seeing, essentially. We're letting the eyes close and we're letting touch become our main input here. We can feel the weight and the pressure of the hands right at the upper ribs. We may begin to notice how the breath feels moving in and out of the ribs by how the ribs move into the hands. Now, if you don't feel the ribs ebbing and flowing, it's okay. If you'd like to notice what that would feel like, you can gently begin to coax the breath, to guide the breath. With each inhale and exhale to grow a little bit longer, to move a little bit further down towards the belly region. And just notice if that does anything. Some of us still may feel as if one side is moving a little bit further in the hands than the other. And if that is the case, you can go ahead at this moment and switch which forearm is on top. Move that hand underneath and back under the armpit. And see if that makes a difference in finding a little bit more equilibrium between the two sides. And again, if you don't feel anything, that's okay. Just simply having the hands resting here is changing two very strong lines of energy that run down the left and right side of our bodies that help balance out what is the female and the masculine energies, the lunar and the solar. It even helps to, through working to find equilibrium in the breath, helps the brain, the left and the right side. It changes the way that those sides are working at this moment because it's altering how the breath is moving in and out of the body. It's all connected. So again, notice if your shoulders are creeping up, can you let them relax down? Can you tune in with the sense of hearing into and noticing the sounds of the breath? Depending on how you're breathing, it might be a faint whisper. Some of us still may be working with a little bit stronger of a breath, needing a little bit more time to come into a settled breath. So you may hear what sounds similar to the sounds of the ocean, that whispery in and out sound. And if you don't hear anything at all, that's absolutely fine. It means your breath is moving into that very calm and easeful state, which is where we're all heading. And then when you're ready, eyes are still closed, the sound's still turned in. You can begin to release the hands down. Just rest them right on the thighs. If you're lying on the floor, you can rest them on the belly. And just notice what it feels like to have the hands removed from underneath of you. Feel any sensations, the weight, the warmth that lingers. And slowly begin to deepen the breath. Let the inhale come through the nose. Exhale, sigh it out. Begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Take any movements that feel good here. And then when you're ready, if you're seated, just drop your chin towards your chest and slowly begin to butterfly open your eyes. If you're lying down, go ahead and begin to blink the eyes open as well. And then you're free to stay here if that was feeling really good. Kind of repeat that pattern and go for a little bit more silence. If you're ready to move on with your day, we're done. 24 minutes, day 24 in the books. So I will leave you with that, and we will be back tomorrow for day 25, 25 minutes of mindfulness meditation. Hope you have a great day.